Hey folks, this is Johnny. Welcome to another Home Studio Trainer Live. How is everybody doing as my microphone refuses to stay up? I hope everyone is doing well. And let's see here. Looks like we got a pretty good amount of people in here. Looks like we got 8 people in here already. Let's see. Neil Thompson wants to punch me. All right, very cool. He says he's joking. Don't punch me, please. I bruise easily. Let's see. Somebody here called No Relation. And he says, let's go. Or they say, let's go. I'm not quite sure who it is. Neil Thompson is here. Billy Morgan is here. Who else is here? And No Relation. And there's a couple of hidden people that are here. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Let me actually turn on the lights there for my camera. There we go. Sorry for the finger. There we go. All right, so a lot of questions. I have been doing an unbelievable amount of Zoom sessions with people. I think I've done, in the last 2 weeks, I've done 8, maybe 9. Maybe 9. And let's see, what's this one? Cool. And they've been fantastic. A couple of people from Patreon, a couple of people who are just paying outright for training. And I wanted to once again thank everybody for the unbelievable recommendations over there in the Facebook group for Studio One. And a lot of those people, a couple of them are people that are actually continuing Patreon members. And if you want to support me that way, you can actually go to Patreon and look my name up, or you can click the link in the description, and that'll take you to Patreon. You can support me there. But a lot of these people are from Patreon. A couple of people are from recommendations from the big groups. And a couple are just from people who found my website on the web. So that's kind of cool. Neil Thompson says, is the alien surveillance unit here as opposed to the domestic surveillance unit called Google? I don't know. That's a good question. But again, thank you everybody for actually, showing up and for the support. It's been really, really good. This channel isn't nearly as big as my old channel, the one that got hacked a few years ago. But it's going well. It's going well. It's slowly building up. I had 28,000 people in my other Facebook group, and I've only got 4,000 here, I think. So, so hopefully it'll grow over time. All right, so what we're going to take a look at today is punching in and out. A bunch of questions from these people that I was doing Zoom sessions with, just as far as what if I want to do it manually? Okay, well, if you're going to punch in and out manually, you need something that's going to have a foot pedal. So there are ways to actually convert your sustain pedal into a punch pedal. I'm going to have to do a separate video on that because it's a little complex, well, for me at least anyway, to actually show you guys. So I'm going to deal with the auto punch options that are in Studio One because a lot of questions came up. I showed a lot of people how they work, and they were all very, very surprised that it is so easy. You don't need a punch pedal. If you have a fader port, you've got a punch pedal input. If you've got the single fader port, if you got the fader port 8, fader port 16, or if you're like me and also have the old school fader port, the silver one, that also has a punch pedal input, and it's all set up. All of those inputs on those fader port units are set up to go right off the bat. Okay, so but what we're going to deal with, the punch-in settings in Studio One. And there's a couple of really good ways to punch in and out. All right, so if you guys could, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're over there on Rumble, please hit the follow button. And if you want to support me financially, you can actually click the link for Patreon, go to Patreon, and you can support me for as little as $1. Now, the cool part is, whether you're doing $1 or you're doing the $9, you get full support from me. And you don't pay anything extra. You just get full support. You need a phone call. You need a Zoom session. If you want to sign up for continuing Zoom sessions, well, then there's a charge after that for the $1 people. But otherwise, the support is completely free just for supporting me. So that is cool. Neil Thompson says, oh, yeah, you can pre-set up the auto punch in and out. Yes, and it's using the loop zone. And let's see, Just Bob joined us. He says, howdy, folks. Tap that like button. Yes, please hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Let's see how many likes we got so far. We got 4 likes so far. Awesome. All right, so let us go to the classroom. And here we go. And what we're going to do is we're just going to open up a new song. And get the beach ball. I might be able to upgrade to a faster Mac Mini at some point. I'm waiting to see if I can get some extra cash from the auction of my mom's place. There was a little bit extra. It actually auctioned off for more than was owed. So wish me luck on that. It's not very much, but it might be just enough to where I can invest into the studio to actually get myself one of the faster Macs for my main setup here. Now, you can see everything I'm doing here. I'm running Studio One, I'm running OBS, I've got Google open, I've got the live stream open and everything, and my M1 with only 8 gig of RAM runs fine. So, but I would like to experiment with a little bit more room on the main hard drive so I can get more plugins. I've been kind of looking at some of the third-party stuff that looks pretty cool. There's a new voice AI that my friend Truckee turned me on to. I don't know if I can sample my own voice, but I'm waiting for that one VST instrument for AI vocals where I can actually use my voice for the songs. That's what I'm hoping. So if anybody knows of anything, please leave it in the comments or here in the chat. I'd really appreciate it. Because I'm really tired of writing a song, and I'm not really writing that much, writing songs with someone else's voice. So there you go. All right. All right, so here we are in Studio One. So the important thing to realize here when it comes to punching in and out, there are a couple of options on your starting points and what you're going to be able to hear before the punch area. Now, what some people do is they create 2 tracks. Let's go ahead and do 2. We want audio tracks, and we want them in the mono. And there we go, 2 audio tracks. So sometimes what people do okay. Sounds good. All right. So, sorry. I got distracted. So, like, I'm going to turn to a Valley Girl there for a second. So here's the first track. And what some people do is this. Here's just a very simple way if you don't want to use punch features or anything like that. Here is a simple way to actually accomplish this. So, I am going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So with this, I can simply do something. I'm going to turn this up a little bit and see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So what some people do, like let's say I want to replace 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's actually replace 4. This is one way to do it. You can use the cut tool. We can actually cut around that. We use the eraser tool and get rid of it. And then what we would do is we would actually use the second track to do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now all I have to do with this is scroll this down to the size that I want and move it up. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to raise this up to the right volume. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and it's seamless. No clicks, no nothing. If you do hear a little click in between the events that you moved, you can highlight them all and hit the X button on your keyboard. There we go. So now they should be crossfaded, and they are. Okay. So now that's one way, and that's really the easiest way to do it. Just remove the stuff that you want, create a second track, and just go for it. All right. So now, with that said, let us Command Z. Let me go back to the arrow tool. Let us select this. Let us Command Z right back to where we were at. There we go. There we go. All right. So now, if you're going to use the punch tools, let's remove this track. There is an easy way to do it. If you look down here, you can see all sorts of tools. Okay, so for this one here, this is the record mode replace. This here is the pre-roll. This is the pre-count. This is the metronome and its setup. And then down here, you have this. Let's see if I can get this here. Well, okay, it's not popping up, but this is the auto punch button right here. So if you use this, if you look at the icon, you see it's got two little lines on the side. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to make it so that you can use the loop zone. So when you have this activated, then you can actually hit the record button, but record won't engage until it reaches this loop zone. And you don't want to turn the loop zone blue because then it'll keep looping. So leave it gray. All right, let's try this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I didn't actually You can see that this went on, but I forgot to engage record up there. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and since I raised the volume on the other ones, I can raise this up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. So that is the full auto punch, where you use the little icon that my mouse is pointing to and isn't popping up something for some reason. I'm going to turn that off. So if you use the loop zone, that is the option that you want right there. Right there. All right. So now I want to take a look. I want to take a look at pre-roll. So if I activate this, I can put my playhead right there. Let me see if this is actually going to work. 2, 3. All right, so what happened there is from the spot, if I use the pre-roll, you can see with the icon. You can see with the icon that there is no stop point. So it is going to keep recording until you hit stop. So you can see that the playhead is right before where I want. But with the pre-roll activated, if I hit record, you'll see this jump back a few bars, like this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I turned that off as soon as I said the word. So let's see how seamless that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right, so let's do this now. Let me go here. That's for that bar. Sorry. All right, so if I click on this little wrench, just like this, you are able to set the pre-roll. So you can see that it shot back a bar when I hit record. I can set this to 2 bars. Let's go 2 bars. And if I close that and I put the playhead here, watch when I hit record. It's going to go back all the way to here. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. 4. Go ahead and raise that up. And see if it's seamless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right, so that is the pre-roll. And you can see here again that it is set up here in the little wrench next to the tools. Just like that. All right. All right, so we've actually looked at 3 different ways that, or 3, not 3, 3, 3 different ways that you can punch. Having a second track and dragging up what you want to replace. You can use the auto punch, which uses the loop zone to punch in at a certain spot using, using the loop zone. And then we did the pre-roll, which you can start with the playhead before the punch area, and then using the little wrench, you can determine how far back it lets you warm up before it actually engages record. All right, so now, as always, I don't use this that much, but there is a, let's see, where is it here? There is a pre-count. Okay, so what this is going to do, if I activate pre-count, going to want to go back down, activate the pre-roll. Again, I don't use this that much, so I'm going to have to test it here a little bit. So if I hit record, oh, actually, let me look at this really. Yeah, I can choose pre-roll or pre-count, just like that. So I don't want to activate that. I'm sorry. I don't want to activate the pre-roll down here because it's going to change. So opening up the wrench, if I want the pre-count, this is what it does. It's not going to move the cursor. It's going to give me a click count in. Okay, you ready? Can I snap my fingers? Hands are too dry. All right, so now I'm going to hit record. You ready? 2, 4. There we go. So that's actually, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. But the pre-count did work. I'm going to put it here again. I think I have to change. Yeah, keep shooting it back. Keep shooting it back. So let me go back to the wrench here. Let's go back to 1 bar. Think that's going to do it? Let's see here. I wanted to punch in right here. No, it still shoots back. Wonder why it shoots back. Now see, this I don't know. I don't know if there is a way to keep that from shooting back. There's a setting here that I'm missing. Repeat accent. I'm going to do that. Pre-roll 1 bar. Maybe I've got to just make this 0. Right? Oh, it won't let me do 0. Oh, won't let me do 0. So I'm kind of curious as to why it, with the pre-count, it keeps going back. Oh, Neil said pre-count versus pre-roll. I'm going to guess that the only difference in the pre-roll plays back the current tracks, and then he said, never mind, you just answered my question. Let's see. He says set the loop zone. Just Bob says set the loop zone. Now the loop zone's already set. So this is the only thing that I'm curious about. So I can't make this 0. But if I have pre-count selected, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this here. If I have pre-count selected and I want to punch in here, you can see the loop zone is set there. But with pre-count selected, if I hit record, it keeps shooting it back. Although it does give me the pre-count. But you know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why that's doing that. Now, if you have audio, now this will be interesting for you guys. So if you have audio at the very beginning, whoops, and you want to punch this in, I can see where the pre-count would be helpful. So let's see. Let's do the pre-count and do it at the beginning. That should be 1. Okay? Let's see if this works. 2, 3, 4. 1. All right, there we go. All right, so the pre-count is really useful if you have something at the very beginning and you don't have any space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the click's off now because I moved the event, but that's okay. So the pre-count is really useful if you've got to punch something in right at the beginning, because it's going to give you that. Let's see if if I move the loop zone over here like that. Let's see what that does. Ready? 1. All right. So again, you have to manually stop it. Otherwise, it's going to keep recording. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like that. So I think that's where the pre-count is really useful. Is if you're punching in at the beginning and you don't have any room. Just like that. I think you may have found a glitch. You know what, Neil? I think I did. Because if I don't have a loop zone there, and I want to do the pre-count here on number 4, and I hit pre-count. Now, it doesn't let me do the bar at 0, but if I hit record, 3, 4, 3, 4. But see, I would actually have to do both of those. Anybody got any ideas? It might be a glitch. Billy says activate loop. I don't think that's right. Because the loop zone doesn't have anything to do with pre-count. I can try it, but it's going to keep looping that area, although it's going to start recording back. Billy says activate loop. Click in pre-count. Only? Yeah, it's only click in pre-count only. Oh, it's so funny. It doesn't let me do that. If I go to pre-roll, or maybe if I... Oh, that's interesting. All of these... Is it because I turned the loop off? Oh, sure is. So click in pre-count only. Let's try that. That's a good idea. All right. So I'm going to use pre-count, and I got the cursor where I want it to punch in, but watch what happens. Yeah, see, it still goes back. It still goes back. I wonder why it does that. I'm sure I'm missing something. Yeah, Neil says there should be no reason, and you're right. There should be no reason it kicks back, because if I place the cursor here and I use pre-count, the way that it's worked for me before is it'll start recording after the 4 clicks and go from that spot. Let's see, to bar 2, only, yeah. That's okay, Neil. You're good. So I'm pretty sure I'm missing something. But as you guys could see, everything else works. The pre-roll works. The loop zone punch-in works, in and out. And moving to another track. All right, so Billy says set the loop and turn it on. Okay. So Billy's insisting that if I set the loop and I turn it on, that the pre-roll will work. All right, let's try it. Ready? Pre-roll, set, here we go. Now, see, it still goes back. And it starts recording before the loop zone. So that's not it. So turning the loop zone on and off doesn't really have anything to do with where the pre-count is supposed to start. Or maybe that's by design, but it just seems weird. So if I want to punch in this word here, I've got to put my cursor here and then hit record. Oh, wait a minute. It worked that time. All right, I'm going to get rid of the loop zone. Did you guys see that? It actually worked that time. If I put the thing here, pre-count, and I hit record, it shoots back. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. What it's doing, it's shooting back to a whole number bar. If I start here and I do pre-count, yeah, that's it. Okay. All right, Ixnay, everything I was wondering about. So if you look at the numbers here, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here's everything in between. If I set, and now this is good to know. Yeah, Neil says because you said it exactly at the beginning of the bar. Yes. Exactly. That is it. I did not know that. I did not know that was a prerequisite for the loop zone. I'm sorry, for the pre-roll or the pre-count to work. I didn't know that. Neil says, please see my comment before that one. Let's see. Here's the last-ditch effort, though. Try starting. Try shutting off Snap. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's shut off Snap to grid. So if I go in between, let's see. Ready? Nope, it still goes back. That was a good idea, though, Neil. That was a good idea. Like maybe the snap to grid is causing that. But I think that just like we found out, if you're going to use the pre-count, since you're using the click track, you need to actually be on a whole bar or a whole measure, whatever you want to call it. All right, let's see. Aurora says, it makes perfect sense for a count. You start at 1. Yes. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So if you've actually got a puncher place that actually starts before a bar, you would actually have to use one of the other methods. And probably the easiest one in that case would be to turn off pre-count and just use the punch in and out, auto punch. That's it. So there you go. Yeah, it's I wonder if I actually had this looking at time base seconds. Wonder if it's going to do it. Recount. 1. Okay, so that was on the whole note. So if I wanted to do it here, is it going to shoot it back? Yeah, it does. So no matter what you have, your time bar set to, whether it's bars or seconds, it's going to go back to that whole bar. Make sense? I mean, I think it does, but I think that the best option is auto punch, because then you can actually set your loop zone to whatever you want. So you can actually set your bar to whatever you want, your loop zone, and then it'll just auto punch no matter where you start. 3, 4. So I can go ahead and I can turn on auto punch. 3, 5. There you go. So that works. I think that's the best option. What do you guys think? If you're watching this on replay, please leave your comment in the comments area, because I'm really curious to see what you guys think. Very good. We've got 10 people in here. And we have 10 likes. Excellent. Oh, we have 12 people in here. So Aurora says, I'm thinking you probably can trick it by the time signature setting. Not me. No way. Yeah, it's definitely something good to be able to play around with. Definitely. All right. So that is that example. Those are the different ways that you can punch. You can do it manually with 2 tracks. You can use auto punch. You can use pre-roll, and you can use pre-count. I think that the pre-count is probably the nicest to have if you've got to do a punch at the beginning of your song. So you can actually start right away just like that. So that would be what I would use the pre-count for. I would probably just use that and the auto punch. I don't know that I would use pre-roll, but it works. Just Bob says, set the cursor where you want to record, set pre-roll 1 bar, hit record and see what happens. Yeah, I actually did that example. Pre-roll, it works fine. Pre-count, it doesn't. You have to actually have it, start on a whole number. That's what we just tested. So yeah, so those are the different ways to punch. Let me show you guys something else too that I discovered recently. You see, you got your loop zone here. Now, this is just an added little piece of information for you guys. Let me get back over here. All right, so you see this, and if you want to readjust to a different location, most people do it this way. But there is a workaround. I can move this. Let's see if this is going to work on my Mac. It works on my PC. It's not letting me do it. Is it Shift on a Mac? Oh, there it is. So if you use the command button, you can actually hit command and you can move the whole loop zone without having to readjust it. So you want to go for 4 clicks here. So if I set this up there, I can do 4 clicks there, or I can hit the command button. And I think I'm not quite sure what the command button is on a PC. But you can move this over this way. Hit the command button again, move this over this way, so that you don't have to keep doing this. Because that's a pain in the butt. So I don't know if you guys knew that. I think that's the Windows key. I think that's the Windows key on a PC. That right there to move the loop zone anywhere you want to, without having to readjust it each time. Oh, just Bob says I'm watching on my phone. Hey, I'm just glad you're here. All right, we got 13 people in here. Thank you guys for coming in. We have 15 likes. Excellent. I think we got a couple of hidden users that are actually watching that way, just like that. So Billy Morgan says, click pre-roll, and it starts and stops within the loop. It doesn't do that, Billy. It doesn't do that. I actually tried that. Well, it's going to loop in the area, but it's going to keep recording. All right, let me show you. I'm going to do what Billy suggested. I'm going to select pre-roll. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. With pre-roll, it's different than pre-count. So here's pre-roll. If I use pre-roll, I can hit record. 2, 3. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. So if I put the cursor here and use pre-roll, 3, 4. Okay, it's just going to keep looping in this area. It's not going to stop. So if I turn the looping off and do it, 3, 4, it engages record, but it's going to keep recording. So the loop zone doesn't have anything to do with pre-roll. It doesn't have anything to do with pre-roll. The loop zone is only useful for the auto punch. Neil says, punching in and out in the digital age gives us the benefit if not having to worry about a big click noise, being recorded. Does the punch in and out become its own separate event clip? Yeah, it does. So for instance, if I'm going to use the auto punch like this, and I just come back here and I wanted to punch in the zone, 4, 5, 6, 8. So you can see it punches out, but it's its own event. Anything in the snap settings? No. That's a good question. We actually tried that. Turning the snap on and off has no effect on how the pre-roll and the pre-count work. Sorry, my voice is starting to go out. So that's it. So the loop zone is only useful for punch in and out, for auto punch. Otherwise, the loop zone doesn't affect pre-roll or pre-count. Those two rely on the position of the playhead. If you're going to use pre-count, you've got to be on a whole number bar. If you are going to use pre-roll, you just have to put your cursor in the position. Just like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Billy Morgan says, okay. Let's see, Just Bob says, what if you cut both sides of the zone and the pre-count and set the cursor at the beginning of the cut zone? Yeah, it's going to do the same thing. So if I use the cut tool and I go here and here, and I use it's auto punch, and I'm going to open this up. I'm going to use pre-roll and hit record. 2, 3, go. So yeah, so it still shoots. And it's going to keep recording. 2, 3. And see, it's not going to shut off until I hit stop. Pre-count is going to be the same. I want to touch right there. I'm going to select pre-count. And I'm going to hit record. 4. Bam. It starts recording, and no matter where the loop zone is or the cuts are, it's still going to keep recording. So let's see. Neil says, right on, Johnny. So being its own event, Studio One gives us the excellent ability to easily crossfade. Yep, exactly. in case the switch up comes out sounding kind of weird. Yes, exactly. All right, Aurora is asking, let's see, is there a setting in the punch that saves it to layers? No. The layers is a completely different thing. That's if you're gonna be building a track and using the loop zone for I'm using for takes to layers. That's something completely different. That is on this part here for a track if you want to actually activate takes to layers. So that's something a little bit different, and I will do a show on that if you guys want me to. Takes to layers is actually quite cool, and that is dependent on the loop zone. Yeah, Just Bob says, dang, thought that might have stopped it. Yeah, and that's actually a good guess. I would think it would, but it doesn't. So the only setting that's going to be able to punch in and out is auto punch. The other ones don't. You'll have to stop them manually. But even if you let it go, you can just shrink the event. Like if I use pre-count and it goes back and I punch in. So let's see. Ready? And if it keeps going and I don't want all of that mess, I can just come back with it. So the cool thing is it's completely non-destructive. Completely non-destructive. So even if you don't stop it in time, you can change the length of the new event that was for the punch. And just make sure if you're going to be punching over stuff, make sure you do not have layers activated. Not layers, what the hell is it called? Overlaps. Make sure that overlaps is off if you're going to do this kind of punching. Otherwise, you'll hear both. You'll hear the punch and the original. Very cool. Well, like I said, if you guys find I missed a point, or if you guys feel there's another way to do some of this stuff, please feel free to leave your comments in the comments area after this becomes just a video. And let me know what you guys think. I'll do some more testing, and if you guys want, I can do another show on some of the ideas for auto punch. But in my opinion, I feel that the best option is the actual auto punch, where it punches in and out on an area that relies on where the loop zone is set. I think that the pre-roll or the pre-count is most useful if you have something at the very beginning of your song that you want to punch in right at the beginning. Pre-roll is just good if you want to hear a little bit of your audio before the actual punch-in. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see. With 14 people here and with 16 likes. Thank you guys for liking what you saw here. That's going to be it for me before my voice gives out. Excuse me. I hope you guys found this helpful. Auto punch is, to me, the best option if you're working in the middle of your song. Again, pre-roll or pre-count is good for working at the beginning of your song, and pre-roll is good if you're looking to start from a point and continuing to record. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's do this like this. Right, thanks, guys. Please leave your comments in the comments area. Thank you so much for coming in. It looks like we got 40 views out of all of this. I really appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate you guys for the support. Remember, if you guys could, like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me over on Rumble. And go to Patreon if you want to become a member. That actually helps support the channel, and you get whole bunches of free stuff. You get free videos, one-on-one videos, and stuff like that. Or you actually get free Zoom sessions. So if there's short ones, we're good. If you want to sign up for regular training, we can do that too. So that is going to be it for me, guys. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.